Good evening. Welcome to another statewide census town hall brought to you by the African American Complete Count Committee. My name is Nicole Rogers, and I am your chair, one of your chairs. Our co-chair is Beverly Jordan. We want to give a shout out to the beautiful, talented, amazing Ms. Beverly Jordan of the Office of African American Affairs. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a lot to cover. A lot has happened in the census over the last couple of weeks, from our president announcing he was going to attempt to remove our immigrant brothers and sisters from the census count, all the way to him cutting down the census a month. So now we have a month less to count. Over 600 million families, households have not been counted as of yesterday when I checked. And so we have a lot of things to cover. First thing we want to do, though, is get right into our response rates. So what we want to do before we get to this lovely panel of people who have boots on the ground, really making sure we do the outreach and the work in all of our communities here in New Mexico to make sure we have an accurate count. But folks, I have to warn you that the results are not pretty, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go here to Google, and you can do this at home. You can pull up the response rates for your zip code, even your neighborhood, and help us. Go talk to your neighbors. Tell them that we need their help to complete the census. There's a lot of work that can be done in this next month, but it's going to take all of us working together to make this happen. So you go to Google, you type in census self-response rates, you hit enter, and the first one that'll pop up is response rates. You always want to see the .gov to know that you're looking at a reliable source, right? Because everything on the internet is not real, but this is real. So if we scroll down, you're going to see a map of the US, and you're going to see that our response rate nationally is 63.1%. We scroll down here to look at New Mexico. You just toggle down here, click right on New Mexico, give it a little minute to come up, and we see the self-response rate pop up at the top for New Mexico is 53.2. So that means only 53% of our households have self-responded either via mail with your mail-in questionnaire over online at the same exact website. You can click here and click respond and do that. And then the very next one is over the phone. So you can actually also get help over the phone. So again, self-response rate for New Mexico is 53.2%. We want to look a little deeper in that. You click on city, and you can actually, it'll then pull up the whole entire map of the state there. And so then we can go by city. So we can look at places like Albuquerque. Our complete count committee is focusing on the place that we know Black people live in New Mexico. We are unique because we have a lot of rural ground to cover. New Mexico is considered the second hardest to count community or state behind Alaska because of all of the rural ground that we have to cover. So again, we have a lot of work to do. So let's look at, for instance, let's look at Hobbs. Let's see how Hobbs is doing and check out Hobbs. It'll refresh there for you and zoom into the city of Hobbs. Right now, Hobbs is at 52.6% response rate. What I really love about this website is you can hover right over that and a box is going to pop up, and it's going to show you what the self-response rate was in the last census. So remember, we only do the census every 10 years, right? So we have in 2010, Hobbs self-response rate was 63.6%. So look at that. We're almost 10% undercounted in Hobbs right now, right? And we only have a month to get this right. So again, please take the time, go check out the response rates for your area, for your town. You can even look at them by tribal area, right? Our tribal areas are getting hit very hard by COVID-19. We know that. But you can look at the whole country in tribal areas. And then over here, you can actually zoom in. It's a really great program. You zoom right on in and look at how much tribal land we have here in New Mexico to cover. There's quite a bit. And right now we need to step it up in our tribal areas. I know they're getting hit hard, but maybe we can use our institutions that are providing health resources to our brothers and sisters in the tribal areas. If you look at Laguna Pueblo, right now they're at 27.4% response rate. We go down here to Mescalero. They had in 2010, they had a 100% response rate. This one stuck out to me big time. 2010, 100% response to the census, but right now we're only at 33.5%. So, folks, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. So, before I'm going to get that off the stream because I don't want to paint a dismal picture for us, but I want to light a fire for us that we have to get out there and make sure your entire family has filled out the census, your aunts, your uncles, your grandma, your everybody. Then make sure your whole block does it. All your neighbors, go and say, "Hey neighbor," at a safe distance with your mask and ask them to complete the census. We even have some census masks we can get you. So you can just walk around at Walmart with your census mask to remind people, everybody you come into contact with, to do the census. I'm so passionate about this, but I'm so excited because I have other people here with me that are just as passionate about making this happen. And so the first person that I want to introduce to talk to you today about the census is the lovely Beatriz Valencia. She is one of the chairs for the Complete Count Committee in the International District. And folks, let's be honest, we have a lot of folks that are immigrants, refugee population that are African, from Jamaica, from Haiti, all over the place that are here, that are in the African American Black community, right? And they need to count as well. So I'm so excited to introduce Beatriz to talk to you today about the wonderful work that's happening in the International District. Thank you for joining us today, Beatriz.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for that introduction. And I want to thank the African American Complete Count Committee for giving us this opportunity. And let's go. I want to show you a small presentation of what it means to be part of this Complete Count Committee. Yes, it's time for renovation. Just speaking up the energy that Nicole gave us, because yes, we need more than ever to go and move forward to get those numbers straight. We only have so short period of time to make this happen, and only can happen because of you. So who are we? And what are our goals and strategic planning and many other things that we have done. Let's go and show you. This is just a picture that we took during one of our Complete Count Committee in the International District and beyond. Because like you see, many of our African American Complete Count members, like Miss Beverly is there, and many other members from the community in the International District always were there. We were preparing because we are as diverse as we are as a country. You know, United States is full of many people who need to be counted, and in that population are from senior citizens to children, to Native Americans, to African Americans, to whites, to Hispanics, to refugees population, and everybody in between. So let's go and see, who are we? We are a compilation of organizations. Okay, if I tell you a story how we started, it will be surprising to you. Okay, last August, we got a training in the census, and we said, okay, we need to do something, because one of the hardest populations to count in the past, it was some areas in the International District. What are we gonna do about it? Well, my school where I work at Hayes Middle School as a community school coordinator, we decided that we need to bring that to the community school council to be able to prepare for when we become a complete count committee. So we discussed, did an asset mapping. We also figured out who were the leaders, organizations, and people in the community we can reach out and invite to these meetings. So believe it or not, we started like with 4 people, and we said, oh my goodness, what is gonna happen? But later, little by little, we were growing and growing and growing, and now we have an email thread like 109 people That doesn't mean that everybody goes to the meetings, but everybody gets the information, and we cross promote, and we do a lot of things. Like this is a huge list of organizations and people, and there is more even that it's very difficult to fit everybody in a slide. So what are our goals? Well, our goals, our main objective is to get everybody counted in the international district and beyond. Because if we see many of these organizations that you just saw are just part of the city and are part of the state. So anything that we develop is going to have implication in other complete count committees, in other parts of town, and in other parts of the state. So the objective is to get everybody counted. So what is our short-term goal? Share information and do a lot of alignment. Because if we don't do alignment, like here, like the Complete Count Committee in African American invite us, we are, and invite many other Complete Count committees, that's a way to align information and efforts. So we are sharing information. That is very important. As a person that works with something that we call in community schools collaborative leadership, alignment is basically the way to save money, and also time and resources. The other part of the GOTSI goal will be like, yes, count everyone and have 100% at the end of September or October when finally the deadline is going to happen. Many strategies have been happening. They changed because of COVID-19. However, we were proactive as all our teams that for this to happen. So let's go to the following one. So we were created the Complete Count Committee. We work with the International District Complete Count Communities Coalition, AACCC. Yes, so we have many organizations. We have always the support from Lois Head from the U.S. Partnership Specialist from the Census Bureau, and Mercy Leroy, and many other people from the Census Bureau has been very supportive in different ways, and this is essential. And as well, I will not be able to pronounce everybody because we are very thankful with everybody. The cross promotion has been very important to be able to be updated every time of what is going on, especially with all the delays that the COVID had caused for the enumerators and many other things going on with the census. The collaborative leadership that I was talking about, and also we were able to identify, I want to show you, the census tracts in the international district, like you see in the map. We just put different numbers just to see the different tracts. Those are some of the hardest areas to count. And in these areas, we still need to some focus in the housing areas where they have a lot of apartments. And let's go. If you want to be on board, that's something to think about. And I'm gonna go faster now. We have some Facebook pages and some marketing out there. And when we cross promote with everybody else about the information about the census, and also in many languages, we have been able to work with Catholic Charities and ABQ Refugee Collection that is gonna talk later on. And they have a lot of information that we cross promote and all this in different languages. The Asian Family Center, New Mexico, also it has been very interesting. Virtual events. Well, 2 weeks ago, exactly, you can say we have the Latin Dance Census Party, and we had a lot of people showing up. Actually, hundreds, like 330 something people. And more people came up later. But the main point is that the feedback was amazing. You know what was the only negative thing that they said that I don't think is even negative? They say, why you didn't speak more in Spanish? Because we are in New Mexico. But apart of that, everything was very positive. And we are very grateful with the Westland Foundation and Nicole, and with Alan, who was the producer, Miss Beverly, and everybody else who got involved. So I'm gonna go faster here. So just to say, those are some part of the success stories that I always mention. And now we're gonna do a phone banking for 8,000 calls that is gonna come for August. And we already had the people ready, and they're gonna start next week. What about that? Yes, just so you want to join us and be part of that, look at these pictures. They say more than anything, a lot of smiles. And be ready, because that objective, we're gonna make it happen. These are just some examples of the people who have been involved with us. We have a lot more, and thank you very much. Let's go and get counted. today, tomorrow, but soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beatriz. That's amazing. You guys are doing so much amazing work, and I just love your energy. All right, let's go to a video, and then we'll go to our next amazing panelists to share some of the work that they're doing.
It's 2020. You know what that means, kids? Nope, not that. Not that either. Fine, I'll just tell you. It's time for the census! Whoop, whoop. Hey, where you going? This is important. Now, most people think the census is just the United States' chance to take attendance. And let me be clear, the census is not perfect and has never been perfect. The original census had 4 questions, and they're basically all about slavery. Yikes. But over the years, they've worked on it, generally to make it better. Truth is, the census may be the best way to get money for the things you and your community care about. That's because there's $1.5 trillion, that's right, trillion, that the government hands out based on who lives where. The census determines resources for hospitals, schools, roads, how many representatives you get in Congress, and much, much more. That's why we really need you to fill it out. No, not you. Yes, that's why we need you to fill it out. Because these people usually get overcounted in the census, and you all get undercounted, which means you all don't get the resources you need, and these people get more than they need. Because the money that doesn't get allocated doesn't just sit in a savings account. Nope, it goes to the people who are overcounted, usually wealthier white communities. Yes, we give more money to rich people. Excuse me while I scream into a pillow. Yup, if communities of color don't fill out the census, then we could be out like $8 billion a year for each of the next 10 years. Black people, we'd be out $3.3 billion a year, Hispanic folks out $4.4 billion a year, Asian Pacific Islanders out $600 million per year, and Native Americans out $200 million a year. And if you're not a citizen, but you live here in the United States, we want you to fill it out too. And luckily, it is actually easier to do that this census without giving out your whereabouts. Facts, not fear. Back in the day, you had to wait until somebody knocked on your door, but now you can do it online. And then you can go home and go back to not answering your door the way the Constitution and the good Lord intended. And the last reason I'll appeal to you to fill out the census is spite. If you do it, then you'll piss off this guy. He and his administration are underfunding the census this year in hopes of stopping resources from getting to where they really belong. And so he can maybe, I don't know, gold plate another toilet? Trump's people also tried to get a citizenship question on the census to intimidate undocumented folks. And they couldn't do it. So undocumented folks, please fill out the census. We got your backs. So complete the 2020 census. And don't just take it from me, take it from Stacey Abrams.
Hi, I'm Stacey Abrams. And if we don't get counted, we simply won't count.
Such a funny video, but it's serious. This is serious stuff, but a light way to talk about serious matters of what's happening in our country right now. And so I just want to keep the conversation going. I'm super excited to introduce our next presenter, who is Pamela Coleman. She's the director of the New Mexico State Personnel and also serves as the chair for the governor's statewide Complete Count Commission. I'm super excited to find out what's happening on the state level. Pam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Nicole, and thank you to the entire African American Complete Count Committee. But now I have to follow Beatriz and Kumau. Like, that's just not fair, Nicole. I feel that was a little slant.
No, I promise. No.
So thank you, everybody. It is a really serious topic and one that we all clearly feel passionately about. The statewide Complete Count Commission was established by Governor Lujan Grisham, funded by the state legislature, allowing that there to be money that can go out to every single county as well as every single tribe in 2 different allocations. And the money that the state is spending as we look toward all the fantastic work. And Beatrice touched on, I know, just a few of the initiatives that the International District Complete Count Commission have pushed forward to great success. And of course, like the only success we have is when every single precious New Mexican gets counted. But our role as the state is to help look at all counties, help support all counties, help support all complete count committees, help support every local complete count committee. One, it was financial from the state, and then 2, it's to provide any kind of resources through a media connections. We have a partnership with Media Desk. We have a social media specialist, that's Real Time Solutions. We have 2 full-time statewide census coordinators, and their job is to help support everything that's going on with respect to the local complete count committees. A couple of examples that we can just share right now is that in Curry County, for example, we helped produce a census PSA and a telephone message from Hank Baskett. And Hank Baskett's the dad of Henry Randall Baskett, who's the former Clovis football star, UNM Lobo receiver, and NFL wide receiver for the Vikings. Also at the Cannon Air Force Base, there's been outreach to the African-American community through Hank and Judy Baskett, who are employees there. As we all know, Ms. Beverly Jordan is a force of nature. And so she's coordinated a ton of activities through the Office of African-American Affairs, including Census's food giveaways in partnership with Bishop Cooper, Census Sundays, the iCount NM face masks that you referred to earlier, Nicole. Also, our team is coordinating phone banking in Clovis, Hobbs, and Las Cruces with Trusted Voices for the African-American community. We earlier in the census season, Kathy McGill, as you all know, coordinated the Tiny Census concerts. And I will say, when I became chair, which was in middle of May, the first thing I was exposed to was the Tiny Census. And I just thought that must have been a national program. I thought that was just like a franchise, like take Tiny Census and do it everywhere, because it was such a groundbreaking, fantastic idea. And in fact, Kathy mentored Megan Mooney out in Hobbs, and the Lee County and Hobbs and Eddy County are going to do a Tiny Census concert because of what Kathy McGill and the folks here in Bernalillo did. So the examples that we can give are similar to what Beatrice spoke to, and I'm sure similar to what Viola and Bishop Cotton and Dr. Lopez will say. Like we are in a place of trying to find and cross-pollinate the best ideas. The most important thing that you referred to earlier from a census perspective is that earlier this week, and it was official on Monday, that the census accelerated the timeline. So instead of there being 90 days at the time, what we thought, there are only 54 days left as of today to count every single New Mexican, and every single New Mexican deserves to be counted. And as referenced, we are the second hardest to count. We are the hardest to count where people are in a smaller geography. Alaska, they have to fly in on planes. Here, we have the hardest to count because we have a African-American population, a Native American population, a Hispanic population, people experiencing homelessness, younger people, older people, rurally located people, all of the things that make it more difficult to count. We have it in abundance in New Mexico. So what makes our state so fantastic and so wonderful and so rich and so culturally with a deep heritage also makes it very difficult for us to count. So the strategies that we've found, whether a strategy was happening in the international district, as Beatrice said, and then spreading those ideas from there to Hobbs, to Clovis, to in Espanola, anywhere we can find good ideas and move them around, that's the job of the statewide Complete Count Commission. And my job is generally to be the most excited person on the phone or be the most excited person on the Zoom. And I think I've already failed in that. But I see my job as the chair as to clear weeds, that if there's something in the way or the right people are not being connected that need to talk to each other, like that to me is, came from the community organizing. I got involved in community organizing because of Barack Obama, and I feel a deep need and passion around connecting people. And when it comes to the census, counting people who have been undercounted, people who perennially have been undercounted and under-resourced. That, to me, is the greatest gift we can give back to New Mexico. So I want to thank everyone on this call, everyone listening, everyone in the listening audience for the work that you do to even care about census, because census to most people means, oh, something with elections. And that's true. And that's really important. And it means $7.8 billion for New Mexico. And I'm preaching to the choir. I know that everyone on this call understands that. But for us, the folks who are passionate about census, that passion, and if you're listening to this, you have to be passionate about census, you must be an ambassador. It is incumbent upon all of us to take every opportunity possible to talk to people about the census, about what we would lose and what we miss out on, what we leave on the table if we're not counted. Whether it's because I will be counted and no one can tell me I can't, or like, well, I'm 18, what does it really matter? Like, everybody deserves to be counted. Whether that little baby is 6 months or a year old, that little baby is going to grow up to be a fifth grader by the time we hit to the next census. Whether you're 99 years old, abuela, like, everybody needs to be counted. And the programs that we're doing and doing in these last 54 days is to maximize at every turn, every piece of collateral, every phone call we make, every person we talk to is about how do we get more New Mexicans to complete the census and that no one's left out. Thanks, Nicole. And thank you, everybody. It's an honor to be on this call.
Thank you so much. That was inspiring. See, you even got me more excited. Who knew that was possible? Thank you so much. All right, we're going to go to our next video, and then we'll go to our amazing next speaker. I'm super excited about Dr. Lopez. She's been on before, but wow, what a powerhouse. After our video.
Honey, have you filled out our census form yet? Remember the envelope I gave you?
Envelope.
It's okay, Dad. You can do it by mail, online, or by phone.
It's so important. For every person counted, it's $4,000 of federal money.
$4,000? I can buy 4 iPhones in a row.
It doesn't go to us personally. It's funding for transportation, education, first responders, and healthcare.
Nearly everything local governments do.
You know, I'm a private person, and I don't trust the government with my information.
Okay, boomer.
They never even ask about your politics, religion, finances, or citizenship.
They don't even take down your social security number.
So now, more than ever, it's time to stand up and be counted.
This is for you, Grandpa.
It's for you.
For me.
For us.
For our community.
There is power in numbers.
But only if we're counted.
So let's get our share.
And shape our future.
Stand and be counted.
Shape your future. Complete the U.S. Census today.
A message from the New Mexico Office of African American Affairs.
10 minutes of your time now benefits us for the next 10 years.
All right, thank you so much. And I'm so excited for you to meet Viola Henry, who was featured in that video a little later from NSBE. But next we have the amazing Dr. Lopez, Dr. Nancy Lopez. She's a professor of sociology at UNM and is a graduate school, University Center City, New York. Sorry, Dr. Lopez. You direct and co-founded the Institute of Study of Race and Social Justice. And she is the founding coordinator of the New Mexico statewide Race, Gender, Class, and Data Policy Consortium. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Lopez. And you're also the co-chair of the UNM Complete Count Committee. Thank you for sharing with us today what you all are doing.
All right, thank you for having us. Bienvenida, familia. I am Nancy Lopez. I'm a Black Latina, Dominicana, born and bred in New York City. I've been living here in New Mexico for almost 20 years. And I wanted to share with you, if I can, the screen to share a postcard that we're using as part of the Complete Count Committee. So hopefully I'm able to do that. And this, I am so grateful to several co-chairs, including students, Dr. Kieran Katira and Eric Hernandez, who actually created this wonderful postcard, as well as Tabitha Faith King, and Mireya Gonzalez, and Summer Jones. So I want to share with you that we have organized several events in the last semester, including press conferences that are all available. If you visit the website for the Institute for the Study of Race and Social Justice, just visit race.unm.edu. It's at the bottom of the postcard, and click 2020 Census. You will not only find, we've had 2 press conferences, we've had town halls, we've had raffles, we've had meetings. I also did a TEDx talk in Spanish. So for anybody, which is my first language, who is interested in reaching out to the immigrant community, the Black Latino immigrant community, that is a good video for them to watch about the civil rights use of census data, race data specifically. And I want everyone to think about how they have answered that question. And one of the things that we also did was try to reach out to the staff by presenting to the staff council. We've presented to the faculty senate multiple times, including now it's more urgent than ever because we have 1 month less than what we thought to try to mobilize not only our faculty, but also our staff and our students to talk about the census. So if you visit the website unm.edu and click My UNM, students will immediately, and anyone, faculty or staff, see this postcard and click onto it, and it directly links them to the census to just reiterate how urgent it is. I know there's a lot of confusion about, well, you know, I live in the dorm, should I fill out that form? If you are in a dorm, the university will be reporting your data to the census, so you don't have to worry about filling out the form. But 80% of our students do not live on campus. They live off campus. And it's important that you are counted where you spend most of your time. So as of April 1st, many of our students, for many reasons, may have left the Albuquerque area. But if they spend the majority of their time here and April 1st, they were not here, they should be counted in Albuquerque, no matter where they came from. 80% of our students are from the state, but it's important that we are counted here because this is where the resources are being used. And if a few minutes remain, I do want to share with you just a slide that asks some really important questions that we've addressed before. How is it that our census data is being used for civil rights enforcement? I did do an article that is called "The Census Bureau Keeps Confusing Race and Ethnicity" that appeared in theconversation.com that really gets us to think about the civil rights use of that data. So when you mark multiple boxes, then we are not able to document the color line in terms of voting rights violations, fair housing. And the last image I'll show, because I want to make sure that our other speakers have an opportunity to also share what they're doing, is this image, which really shows that for Latinos, it is important that we mark that question according to how you are seen by others, because that will help us identify housing violations, violations in terms of civil rights when you go vote, etc. So this image here shows David Ortiz, Ricky Martin, and George Lopez, all of whom are Latinx. But we know the data show us, right, violations, civil rights violations that map onto their street race. If they were walking down the street, what race do you think they are based on what they look like? So when Latinos are faced with this question, right, I want us to think about how we're answering it. We know that we have relatives that look like every person that I showed you on that video, but when we have Latinos mark 5 boxes, we won't know that the poverty rates where people who look more like David Ortiz are much higher than the poverty rates where Latinos who are light-skinned and white-looking, and the poverty rates for the Latinos who are brown. So again, keep in mind that how this census data is used for civil rights enforcement is incredibly important. And again, if you want to watch any of the videos that really help us understand the civil rights use of that data, I invite you to visit the website for the Institute for the Study of Race and Social Justice, race.unm.edu. You'll see many videos, including one that I urge everyone watch. It's on the Census Academy that talks about how your data will be used for civil rights enforcement. And you'd be surprised what happens when you mark multiple boxes. So my advice is mark 1 box and use that for representing your civil rights.
Thank you, Dr. Lopez. I love that because I know we've talked a lot about this and go around talking about, even myself in New Mexico, there's a lot of resources for my Hispanic side, right? And so this census, I checked Black because I want my $4,000 to $5,000 every year for the next 10 years to go to that community, to the African American community, because we have a lot of work to do in that community, or in my community here in New Mexico. So thank you so much for that. All right, so again, if you have questions, we're tracking them live. Put those in the chat and we'll cover those questions. Next, we're gonna go to another video, and then we have an amazing speaker after that. I mean, everybody here is amazing, but one of my favorites, Joe Cotton from Lee County Complete Count Committee. He's also the statewide chapter president of the NAACCC. So I'm super excited to have Mr. Cotton come up right after this video.
You know, when it comes to the census, our community has been undercounted for years.
In fact, in the first census, African Americans were counted as 3/5 of a human.
What?
Now, we've made some progress since then.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! George Floyd! George Floyd!
Some progress, huh?
Progress.
So now, more than ever,
It's time to stand up and be counted.
and fill out the census.
Because there are some people who don't want us to be counted.
And we know who they are.
Because not only are census numbers used to allocate resources, but also provide statistical underpinning in the fight for justice on issues like police brutality, voter suppression, and access to healthcare.
And now with COVID-19 and the impact on our community, healthcare is even more important.
We believe that right now, there is no more important issue facing the Black community than being counted.
To ensure equity in housing, employment, education, and voting.
And to help enforce anti-discrimination laws, regulations, and policies.
And that's why we have to stand up and be counted.
It's for you,
For me,
for us,
For our community.
There is power in numbers.
But only if we're counted.
So let's get our share and shape our future.
Stand and be counted.
Shape your future. Complete the U.S. Census today.
A message from the New Mexico Office of African American Affairs.
Come on, folks. Your community is counting on you.
All right, some amazing videos produced right here in our community. I love the youth. I love that you're using the youth, and I'm excited to talk to Joe Cotton next. All right, again, Joe Cotton is one of the chairs of the Lee County Complete Count Committee and the president of the NAACP. Thank you, Mr. Cotton, for joining us.
Thank you, Nicole, for having me. Thank you for your hard work, as well as Beverly Jordan for being so persistent and making sure that everyone is included in making sure that New Mexico gets counted. As a tough act to follow, Dr. Lopez and Ms. Valencia and Dr. Coleman, I could just say thank you. Everything they said, I agree with. Very good information, a lot of knowledge there. Wrote down some websites and everything. I am with the Hobbs Complete Count Committee under the directions of Megan Mooney, who is doing an outstanding job here in Hobbs. We have ministers that are involved. We have the Hispano Chamber that's doing an outstanding with the Hispanic community that's involved. We have the school is involved. Hobbs Head Start is involved. A lot of neat people doing a lot of good things. But my passion and my desire is to make sure that the Black community is being counted. Black and brown community, to be more specific. We are undercounted. The reason we are undercounted is because not only do we not get the resources that we need in these communities by being undercounted, but even when it comes time to be counted, we need to make sure that we're pushing resources in that part of the community to make sure that everyone is counted fairly. We're just in trying times, and most of us know whenever you're trying to reach out into the Black community, it's difficult enough when you can't go knock on doors or you can't walk in hand literature to reach the community. So the work now is even tougher than before. So what we're in the planning stage of doing now, we Hobbs have come up with a lot of little neat signs. So we're having these yard signs put around town in yards and making sure that people know that, hey, time is running out. Unfortunately, time is running out. We need that extra 30 days. It would help to make sure that everyone gets counted. But there are people who don't want everyone to be counted. So with all that being said, we're setting up videos right now. We're working with young people, elderly people and everything. And we're gonna try to start doing a lot of Facebook Lives with people of color talking about the census. But on Tuesday, the local branch here, NAACP and the community, the city, we all got together and we did a drive-through census completion. So we went over to the park, the NAACP did. We had a lot of volunteers out there and we set up at the park. We had the signs out and we gave out sandwiches, chips, water. Megan had gave us a bunch of little giveaways that we had. So we had everything stacked up. But lo and behold, we were expecting a line of cars, which we got a few cars to come through. But we went to a park that's in the heart of the community that we need to reach. And I can tell you, I'm just still overwhelmed with the response that we got. Not just from drive up, we had people riding bikes that stopped. We had people walking that stopped. We had people that would have never filled out a census, let alone anything else, because of some choices that they've made in life. But they were able to come by, they were able to get a sandwich, and water, get some chips, visit with us, and we had the iPads there. They had an address, they had a birthday, they had a phone number, had everything we needed to get their census filled out. And they did it, and they felt great about it. And that made us, it was really exciting. Yesterday was Tuesday was a great day for us. We feel like we made some great strides in getting people to get counted. So we're gonna do 3 more of the same things in the next 3 weeks. We're gonna set up another one. And we didn't do long notice, we did short notice because we started advertising on Sunday, we had it on Tuesday. We're gonna do the same thing again because the response was good. But we're gonna go where people not necessarily have vehicles that can drive through, are not leaving out of that community. So if they walk by the park, they wanna know what we're doing. We're giving them a sandwich, we're feeding them, we're talking to them. We mask up, we had gloves, we had some extra masks there for people that might have come up that did not have masks. And they put on a mask and they wanted to do it. And they, one young lady brought a friend back by so she could do it. So we're gonna do it in a couple more parks. And then we also, there's a housing project that we wanna do it in. So we're gonna set up in the center of that project and we're gonna be out there with our speakers and our signs, and we're gonna invite people to come out and fill out their census. I believe we also registered, I think 10 people to vote on Tuesday. So we're trying to do what we need to do with the resources that we have. And hats off to the Office of African American Affairs for making sure and partnering with so many different people. But that's what we are doing here in the Black community. I know that and also we had Emilio on the Hispanic radio station. He announced it as well. So we didn't just have African Americans out there filling out the census. We had a good diverse group of people stopping by. And that's a type of relationship that we've built in this community. He was all eager and ready to announce our flyer in Spanish for us and just get everyone out. So when we work together, we accomplish more. And that's the effort we're trying to make here. That's where we're at. That's what we're going to be doing moving forward. And we're going to be really pushing it. We're going to be hitting the ground running. We're going to be hitting the ground, trying to do the best we can and hoping we get counted. Thank you for having me. I hope that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. We're excited about it. And we're going to keep on pushing. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khan, for everything that you're doing. It's that exact kind of outreach that's really going to make a difference. And I love that you said you're going to keep doing it over the next, 3 more, because it's time to step it up. And for all of us to think about doing that in your own community, right? That's a dual community service. You're educating people about the census, giving them an opportunity to actually fill it out right there. Do it right now. Don't tell me you're going to do it later. Do it now. I love that. And you're feeding the community during COVID pandemic. And of course, we are in a dual pandemic. I say that in the African American community. We have racism and a health pandemic happening. So it's twofold for us right now. So even just giving that fellowship too in this times for our mental health is so important. So thank you so much for doing that. I think we're going to duplicate that, do some of that here in Albuquerque. I know Bishop Cooper and Beverly are doing a lot of that, and but we can step it up and do more. So thank you, Mr. Cotton. All right, next, before we go to our next panelist from CNM, we are going to see another video.
Hello, New Mexico. On behalf of the African American Greater Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce, I want to encourage you to complete your 2020 census. By responding to the census, you are shaping the future for yourself, your family, and the New Mexico community for the next 10 years. The census results affect planning and funding for schools and education, healthcare facilities, housing assistance, public transportation, child and adult food assistance, Medicare Part B, and it determines the number of seats each state has in the House of Representatives. It is important to count every person living in your household, even if they are staying only temporarily. This includes relatives, non-relatives, and children as young as 1 day old. Responding is easy and secure. It only takes just a few minutes. Simply answer a handful of questions online, by phone, or by mail. Together, we can shape our future in New Mexico by making sure you and everyone you know is counted in the 2020 census. Thank you, New Mexico. Now let's get counted.
All right. Thank you so much to Teresa Carson for that video. And I'm super excited to introduce our next presenter. We have Mara from CNM. She's a campaign and content specialist there in the marketing and communications department at CNM. And I, as an alumni of CNM, really, really love CNM. And I worked there for a long time in health, wellness, and public safety before I came to UNM. So I love CNM, and I'm super excited for you to share what y'all are doing over there to energize folks to do the census.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the clue, and thanks so much for having CNM present today. I just want to acknowledge and just say that we are on unceded land that belongs to the Tiwa people. So I just want to acknowledge that here and now today. And also just to kind of brief you on some of the things that we've been working on and some of the things that we've discovered as we've tried to move forward. So we basically started our reach out for the census back last year in November. We made sure to get our website up, our page up, and then start reaching out to students through our news link, which is our weekly newsletter that goes out. So we made sure to mention the count and how people could engage, also and how they could become employed, because that was a big push at the time. So we started there. And then also we created a mini zine, which is basically just a one pager that folds down into a small little handout that had all of our events that were scheduled, and as well as contact numbers and bits about the census, just little things that people may or may not have known as far as allocation of money and everything that the census helps us all kind of receive once we engage. So as we know, COVID-19 kind of interrupted all of all of our efforts. So we basically moved our efforts online. So in doing so, we had an event last month, and basically it was kind of an unconference. We launched our Native American Studies degree, and so we decided to pair that with the census with a focus on Native American engagement. So we had an online event. We featured the Dene band, Weed Rats, a punk band. They were awesome. We talked with Nathan Mokino from the New Mexico Higher Education Department. We also talked with Dr. Lee Francis of Red Planet Books and Dr. Brian Hudson, who is a professor at CNM in Native American Studies. So we talked about Native American futurism. We talked about comic books. We talked about all the things that we know that people are interested in, but also to get younger people thinking about the census and how that can affect their lives. So we had conversations like that. We also spoke with Dr. Mercy Alreed, who was on the line on the phone answering calls. So this was something that that we kind of discovered, that it's been really wonderful to see so much engagement, to see musicians and things like that over the summer. But where could people really engage? So I'm thinking that as we go forward, maybe we should have that, a call-in number with live chat right there, local. So we tried that with Dr. Alreed's team, and I think that worked pretty well. Count went up by 1%, so that's not nothing. At least we all kind of helped push the needle that day, so that was pretty exciting to see. And I know we've only made 2% growth in the time since. But I think if we do more of these live events in this next month or so, and we also do a live call-in where you can get some quick and easy support, I think that's going to really help too. We also, in our presentation, included 2 national commercials for the census. So one featured Native American tribes. And so we did that. And then also we shared our video that we made last summer to get kids involved in the count. So making sure that, children are also counted as we're counting everyone in our household. It's important to count everyone. So those are the things that we discovered. And I also want to just mention that today is the 55th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And so voting and the census are braided together. We know that the Voting Rights Act has been dismantled for the most part. It's harder to vote, and it's also harder to engage in the census for similar reasons. So going forward, CNM is going to work with Media Desk to do some rapid fire supportive reach outs to very specific communities. The African American community at CNM is small in terms of students and employees, as you well know, Nicole. But it's still important to reach out. So we'll be doing that as well, updating our website, and hopefully having another live census event. That was really exciting to have like a decolonized hour of TV that featured Native Americans. Like, thank you very much. That was great. So hopefully I will be able to do that again. I'm working to edit down the video so perhaps we can just air it and have a watch party. So that's what's going on. Are there any questions I could answer while I'm here before I turn myself off?
No, that's amazing. That's a lot of amazing work that's happening there. And you're right, there's not a huge population of African Americans, but they are powerful people. A lot of
Absolutely.
them, even Dean Ash, that's now at Health, Wellness, and Public Safety. It's really great. And I love following the website and all the things that you guys have there. And I actually think that's the next video, is your video for the that you produced, that you talked about next for the kids. So we'll go to that next. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
The 2020 census is closer than you think, and it's up to us to get counted. The census will count everyone living in our nation and will determine funding for community services for the next 10 years. Think about it. What services will your kids need in the next 10 years? Childcare? Public schools? Libraries? Healthcare? The 2020 census will inform funding for those services and others and determine where and how billions of dollars will be distributed to communities like ours. We all have busy lives, but the census is too important to ignore. Our kids' future depends on it. So let's make sure all kids, even newborn babies, get counted too.
It's easy. Get counted.
You can respond to the census by mail, by phone, or online. For kids to count, we need to count all kids in the census. Parents, grandparents, guardians, it's time to shape the future of our kids. Let's make their voices heard in the 2020 census.
For New Mexico's kids.
All right, that's awesome. I love the kids. All right, next, speaking of kids, let's go to Viola Henry, who is in charge of the NSBE Junior, National Society of Black Engineers. And you already saw her in a couple of the videos, but I'm excited for her to talk to you guys about what NSBE is doing and how you're helping us complete the count.
Thank you, Nicole. Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to be here. As Nicole stated, I work with the Greater Albuquerque National Society of Black Engineers Junior Chapter, and we support students 3rd grade through 12th grade. Our program meets inside of the International District of Albuquerque at the African American Performing Arts Center. And so with the onset of COVID-19, what we did as an organization, we created research questions for our students. Currently, we serve 65 students. While we don't have an ethnicity requirement, 100% of my students are African American or Black. It just happens that way. I don't know if it has something to do with the name. But what we did is we created research questions and allowed students to conduct research while away, and then come back and come up with topics that they wanted to see in the commercial based upon what they wanted to go back and then teach their families. And so we are very thankful to the Office of African American Affairs to have that opportunity. Our students are a little bit different. They come from 17 different schools throughout the greater Albuquerque community. And so they have different varying backgrounds and access to resources. However, they're all strung together based on a main factor in common. We do promote 3 areas. So academic excellence is our first topic. And we support students. Our students have mandatory tutoring if they have a 3.8 GPA or lower. And so we kind of are there to kind of support students through their academic challenges and also to encourage them to take some of those stretch more advanced and challenging classes. We do have community service as well as professional development. And so every student goes through a rigorous program with us. All of our students participate in our program for $25 a year. It's an absolutely amazing program. And during this program, what we did with the census count was to really create the ideal of census activity as being very normal. This is something we should do. This is something that's not new. This is something that is more of your civic duty. And so our students, the goal is that those who are, 10, 11, 12, when it is their turn, they'll be prepared to go ahead and process those census forms. In addition to that, the videos that we created during the time of COVID-19 and social distancing and physical distancing, we've been able to use these videos to help students to educate their families. So we have multi-generational homes. And so you have the younger generation being able to share with their grandparents and others about the importance of completing the census. And so we have had an amazing time. We posted these videos online, and within the first 24 hours, we had over 600 views for just one video. And so we don't have an accurate number. I can't say for certain how many individuals may have completed the census based upon our specific videos, but I do know we have at least 65 families who have additional education and who are now aware of the importance of completing the census. That's all that I have for this evening. If you have any questions or would like any more information, please let me know.
Awesome. And I think it's important that you tell the viewers that you run this program with really no state funding, local
Okay. The second part
funding.
of my commercial. Thank you, Nicole. So part of my commercial, our program has been in the greater Albuquerque area for 20 years. We do not receive any city funding, state funding, legislative funding, and no student is prevented from participating in our program because of a lack of funding. Our students do travel twice a year. They compete in robotics and mathematics, and we do win awards. I'm wearing our shirt where we were awarded the National Program of the Year by the NSBE National Society. And the significance of that is that we are in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where often our students are considered insignificant. And so for us to come onto a main stage where our students from Albuquerque are participating and competing against students who, for instance, Stanford has a high school on their campus. Their team is named CAMS. Our team beat CAMS. That was amazing for our students. And so what we do is we work with our students. We want them to come up with what their dream ideal is. We figure out what that pathway looks like. And then we also go through some exploration and we expose them to those areas. 100% of our 100% of the adults that work with our program are all volunteers. They're all professionals within the industry. I have, everyone has at least a master's level of education in an engineering or science field. All the way through PhD. These people come free of charge. We are very thankful. I will say that 90% of them did attend historical Black colleges and universities, so they do know the importance, but they are here because they work maybe at the labs or at other areas throughout the state. It's very interesting also, since I have your attention, it's interesting to me that education as a whole in New Mexico ranks so low, but we have the highest PhD per capita for the nation. And what that tells me is that we invest in higher education or to recruit others in with higher education, but we're not making the same investment in our students who are already here. And that's problematic. And so that is the work that we do. Again, we all work for free, so everyone has a regular job. Everyone has another profession or career, but we do this work for free. And again, we've been here for 20 years,
Yeah, I couldn't let you go without pointing that out. We need to change that in New Mexico because you can reach more students and do more things and buy them more robotics. I mean, that stuff's not cheap. So what you
and I thank you for that, Nicole. We are a registered 501c3 nonprofit with the state of New Mexico. You know, if you're interested, I have prepared packets that I can email to you. I'm absolutely comfortable with you all having my information. You can also jet over to YouTube. We have a current commercial up. So if you Google NSBE 45th National Convention, 2019.
I think that's the video we have next for you. Yes, absolutely. We have the time, and I really think that just because the work that you guys have done with the census, I want more people to know about NSBE and how you weave in education like this, even outside of the census, with what you're doing. And it's a big focus that you do, you know, civic engagement. So I want people to know more about NSBE. So absolutely, we're going to play that video.
Wonderful. And as we begin this, please keep in mind that this video that you're going to see was produced for us free of charge by 505 Entertainment. This gentleman is an amazing artist in what he does, but he was able to see the value after his children joined our program. And so he did create this video for us. I want for everyone, please see it, please share it. And I think it'll give you a firm idea about what we're really doing here in Albuquerque. This is here in Albuquerque, guys.
Yes, for the last 20 years. So let's go ahead and roll that beautiful footage.
Absolutely.
Hello, Detroit. You won my heart. Your renaissance and waterfronts give you a flair of your own.
Welcome to the 45th Annual Convention and in the great city of Detroit, Michigan.
The mission of the National Society of Black Engineers is to increase the number of
culturally responsible Black engineers
who excel academically,
succeed professionally,
and positively impact the community. 16,000 people here today are conveying that mission.
As you walk around this convention center, you see the community, you see collaboration, problem solving, you see networking.
The local chapter is the Greater Albuquerque chapter.
We're a junior chapter made up of high school and elementary school students, middle school students.
We have really great participation locally in Albuquerque, introducing students into all areas of engineering.
NSBE in general is important, especially to the Black community and the engineering and minority community, because of not only the programming that it offers, but the community it offers.
Growing up in Albuquerque, there aren't too many Black people, so it's been a really good cultural experience to see who I am as a Black woman in America and how this has given me that connection to my own peers and people who I can relate with, and we build each other up to succeed professionally and to grow as leaders in our world.
I like how NSBE brings together people that are focused on one goal, and that's making the community better.
There's been so many ways that NSBE can impact the Black community. Like this week, for example, the young children that are here, not only are they learning about math and science, they're learning presentation skills.
Learning how to talk in front of people, make eye contact, try and know what you're talking about. Don't just read straight off of like PowerPoint or paper.
During first LEGO Week, where we program robots, I've learned a bit about code, which is actually what I want to do when I grow up. I've learned about meeting people and how to greet them. I've learned a lot about going outside my comfort zone.
These lessons that they're learning in NSBE, they're going to help them throughout life.
You instill in the young the will to become stars and champions. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling good, don't stop.
In the STEM field, it's about creativity. And creative ideas come from all kinds of people.
It's part of our mission to ensure that girls as well as boys have a very good chance and opportunity to pursue STEM fields, because we can do it. And we need to make sure that the pipeline is diverse.
It's important to have a woman's point of view, an African American woman's point of view in corporate America. And I would love to see where some women's health issues are solved by some of the young girls that are here. There's so many places around the world where women's health is not a priority, and it really should be.
Currently, NSBE has a goal to graduate 10,000 Black engineers by the year 2025.
Making sure that African Americans are represented in corporate America, in technology, and training them so they are competitive.
We're preparing our students to go into an amazing work professional environment where they're looking for strong, educated African Americans.
Culturally responsible, to me, it means looking out for your peers and having them look out for you. So, working as a team.
Women, men, people of all races, all socioeconomic groups.
People are always turning around to ensure that they're developing the next leaders.
It's great. It's great to be here at Nationals.
What I like about NSBE is all the competitions we do and getting to build all our stuff from scratch.
I love competing with the robots.
I love the networking aspect of it, getting to meet people from across the nation and even internationally.
It's so great to be around 15,000 of my peers.
I really like hanging out with my friends. I get to boss around the boys on the team.
I'm definitely having fun.
I'm already going to start packing for next year's convention as soon as I get home.
Hello, Detroit. You've touched my soul. Thanks for the memories I cherish so. Hello, Detroit.
Thank you so much, Viola. That just warmed my whole spirit. I'm telling you, I love it.
Thank you so much for accommodating us. Something else I want to add just real quickly. So in this program, we do have a 100% high school graduation rate, as well as a 100% college entrance and acceptance attendance rates. And so the work we're doing, we know that it's impactful, it's important, and we'd love to share more and then also have your support with it as well.
Well, thank you so much. That's why we had to play that video. We had enough time because it fits, right? Making sure that African Americans are represented in STEM fields, making sure we were representative in the census. It all fits. So I'm so glad we could share and highlight your amazing program tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. All right. So next we have another really great video from our Albuquerque Refugee Coalition. They couldn't come and join us tonight, but they did send an amazing video about some of the outreach that they're doing in the refugee population and some of the partnerships that they have going on with people in the community, businesses in the community, like Cafe Istanbul is actually right now has a campaign going. You'll get $10 gift card if you complete your census. You just have to show them that you have your completion screen there, and then you get $10 off at Cafe Istanbul. I go there for my rose water. I love rose water. So what? You don't know what rose water is? Go get some. Go get some. It's good for cooking, good for my eyes, all kinds of wonderful things that rose water is for. But yeah, let's roll that video from our friends at the Albuquerque Refugee Coalition.
Catholic Charities joined the Census Complete Count Committee in April 2020 to reach out to Bernalillo County's hard-to-count communities, educate them on the importance of the 2020 census, and encourage their participation. In collaboration with other city, county, and state refugee organizations, Catholic Charities created a group called the Albuquerque Refugee Coalition on Facebook and Instagram. This coalition is promoting the 2020 census campaign to help raise awareness about the importance of responding to the census and to assist the community in overcoming census participation barriers, such as language access, computer literacy, and lack of technology. Due to COVID, Catholic Charities has been conducting much of its census outreach on social media, our website, and over the phone. Our members are making sure that all of our current clients fill out the census. We have called members of hard-to-count communities to promote the census, and we have tried to address barriers such as lack of computer literacy skills with video guides. Additionally, Catholic Charities has put together a multilingual page on our website, which includes links to Census Bureau videos and language guides. This page also includes our own materials in languages commonly spoken by hard-to-count communities, such as Arabic, Farsi, Dari, and Pashto. Because the Census Bureau website does not have census materials in Dari or Pashto, we have created our own Dari and Pashto videos and materials about what the census is, why it is important, and how to fill it out. Our other outreach efforts include a census raffle earlier this year, where we gave several prizes to individuals who completed their census and entered the raffle. We are also currently reaching out to local restaurants and markets who serve customers from hard-to-count communities to conduct a 2020 census campaign. We are working with Cafe Istanbul and Casablanca Market to give out $10 gift cards. For the first 50 customers who complete the census and show their confirmation number. We will continue to reach out to more small businesses for collaboration, distribute census materials during our food drive, make phone calls and do social media outreach, and host online events such as the Dari Facebook Live to ensure that everyone is counted. We still have until September 30th to make a difference and bring more resources to our community. You count, your family counts. Answer today. Go to www.2020census.gov. Thank you for your participation.
All right, New Mexico, we have so many people out there working so hard to make sure that we count. Again, we're only at 53% response rate. So we have a lot of work to do. Please, please, please get out there, do your census, complete your census, my2020census.gov. You can go there, 10 minutes of your time brings millions of dollars to our community for the census. So I know, I can't believe we have more, but we do. We have more. There's one more amazing campaign happening in our barbershops. We have a Better You. Again, we're partnering. The African American community is we have to think outside the box about where to reach them, where to reach our community. New Mexico, you can't just drive to one neighborhood and find all the Black folks. It doesn't work like that in New Mexico. We don't have quote unquote Black neighborhoods that we can just drive up to, right, and reach our people. So we're, again, working with the churches. We're working with our sororities, brothers and sisters in the fraternities to reach people. We are, and then again, a Better You. So I want to go to a Better You video, and then we'll close it out with the panelists that we have left.
One of the reasons for the census that is very important is that we're able to receive the proper funding, and as they have an accurate count, then those fundings can be appropriate issued in the right places. We are always the last one to receive anything, and it's very important that we make sure we register through the census so we can get what's due to us. And if we do that, then we will be able to receive whatever funding that the federal government has to pass down. A Better You is a beauty barber academy that focuses on training young men and women to become barbers and stylists, and also entrepreneurs in the community. Due to the COVID-19, A Better You is offering free haircuts on Mondays all day from 10 to 4, and also on Thursday evenings from 4 to 7.
All right, did you notice those amazing looking census shirts? Yes, those were the shirts that were designed by the collaborative group of the African American Complete Count Committee. That is also our census giveaway. So you complete your census, you save a copy of your completion screen, just take a picture of it. You go to wellstenfoundation.org, fill out the form. Yep, you'll get a t-shirt, a tote bag, some hand sanitizer. You know you want the hand sanitizer. And a pen that you can get. And again, that's wellstenfoundation.org. You just go there and you can, oh, there it is. Thank you, Alan. Alan Stone from First Stone Productions, running the production on the back end. And he's available. He's amazing at his job. He does great work. So thank you, Alan. Again, that's our giveaway. You just let us know that you completed the census. We will mail you out an amazing giveaway. And I heard that there's going to be some gift cards going out in those too. I think we're going to partner with some of the other complete count committees to get those out. So again, fill out your census, Go to wellstandfoundation.org, complete our form, and you'll get those amazing shirts that you just saw in the video that all the barbers are wearing. If you go to Better You on Fridays and you complete the census, he'll give you a discount also off of your haircut. So again, Fridays, a Better You, they'll all be wearing their shirts every single Friday. They'll have the iPads available and you can get your haircut. And while you're in the chair, you can fill out your census, right? Because we need the funding to come to our communities. And when you fill that out, check Black. Ladies, anything else that you want we should cover before, any last thoughts before we go to our last outro video? Pam?
I just want to say this has been a fantastic demonstration of creativity, of passion, of scrappiness, of maximizing resources, relationships, the way people have worked together. It's inspiring, and it's inspiring that takes us, it's not just every 10 years. Like that's the most important part. It's a community effort. It's a national effort that is down by community to community to community. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for your work. It certainly gives me, like, it energizes me for the last 54 days as we run as hard as we can to the finish line, making sure that we've gotten our arms around everybody, bringing everybody across with us. So I want to say thank you to Nicole for hosting, and everyone on the call. Really just a wonderful demonstration of how the count is one thing. It's counting each person. Everybody who's counted is a unique, beautiful, precious New Mexican. And thank you for the honor just to be with you on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you. Beatriz, did you have anything else you wanted to close us out with?
Yes, there is a phrase that I always use with the Complete Count Committee, and is part of the Queen song, "We Are the Champions." So yes, we are the champions until the end. And that we have to keep that spirit going, because we can make it happen. And just keep the spirit going, and we're gonna be able to count most people that we can. Thank you.
Thank you. I love that. We are the champions and we deserve to be counted. So please, please, please fill out your census. I'm saying, people out there protesting and marching, like, I love it. Keep it up. But please fill out your census, because that is something we can do right now to put power and money in our communities. So yes, it's about demonstrating, but I think I'm gonna go out there in the protest with some iPads and say, hey, you want to protest? Do your census too, because we really need people to complete their census. So please, 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 please complete your census. Viola, anything you want to add before we go?
I just want to thank New Mexico for being here tonight, for showing up, sharing all of this great information regarding the census. And then also keep in mind, we have another generation coming right behind us. So now is the time for us to invest in our youth and ensure that they have the proper education and the proper tools to be able to go out and to carry this work on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the last thing that we have on our way out, we have our last video called Who I Am, and it's from our folks in our Native communities. We cannot leave them out. They have absolutely been hit hard by this by this pandemic. And really, we have to really put our arms around our Native brothers and sisters and make sure that they're counted. All right. So thank you so much. That concludes our program for the evening. And I cannot stress enough. 2020census.gov, complete your census, urge your friends, your family, your community to complete it. There's a lot of work going on to make sure that we're not complete counted. If you need help local help, we can help you with the census. We have virtual questionnaire assistance happening right now. You call 818-512-3457 and we will help you complete the census right now. I just got hired as an enumerator with the census. So now I actually have an official census iPhone and I can go and knock on doors and actually help people complete the census. That was one of our early outreach strategies, was to get people that are like me, that are passionate about it, that are African Americans hired. We got about 30 people that look like us in our African American community hired. We're getting trained and we are going to be boots on the ground in the next 55 days, even more than now. So you didn't tune into the census town halls all these months? That's okay. I'm going to be knocking on your door to come and make sure that you complete that census. So don't dark house me, open that door, talk to me, I'm friendly. I'll have my census bag, my census badge, and I can help you complete the census. So again, please, and if you don't want anybody knocking on your door, I get it. Just do it online. Do the census online, call the 1-800 number, do it, mail back your form, and I won't bother you at your house. But if you don't, I'm coming to knock on your door. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time. Have a great night. Oh yes, I can't forget to say thank you to our partners. Thank you, Ellen, so much. These are the different companies and organizations that make up the African American Community Complete Count Committee. So of course we have our partnership specialist that Beatrice mentioned, Lewis Head. We have Brandy Stone from the office from the African American Student Services at UNM, Beverly Jordan from Office of African American Affairs, Pamela Herndon from the AKAs and KWH Law Center. We have people from APS, Faith in Public Health with Bishop Cooper, the Deltas, the Sigmas, I Count NM, Bernalillo County, MLK Commission, Media Desk, First Stone Productions, Ellen Stone tonight helping us, and all the time helping us with all of our media. And I just can't thank you enough. And again, one other way you can help us, and Media Desk and us are partnering to do phone banking. So before we show up at your house, we're going to be calling you too, to just reach everybody that we can. And we're thinking of every way we can reach you. We're also participating in the National Text Banking campaign that's happening with Stacey Abrams in the Fair Count out of Georgia. And so again, we're thinking of everything we can to reach you. So save us some work. Just go online and fill out the census. Do it now. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
That's really awesome.
Thank you all so much. It was so cool. Oh my God, it was so cool.
I feel like such a dork right now.
Oh my gosh, Nicole.
No, I'm a dork.
All right.